unraveling the timeless allure of 80s sounds in modern film scores. Have you ever found yourself humming the catchy tunes from classic 80s movies? Those unmistakable synth melodies seem to have a magical ability to transport us back in time. Think about the iconic opening notes of Harold Faltermeyer's Axel F. from Beverly Hills Cop, or Brad Fiedel's haunting theme for The Terminator. These sounds are more than just music. They encapsulate an entire era, and their influence is still felt in today's film scores. While electronic music has been around for decades, the synthesizer truly came into its own during the 80s. This was a time when filmmakers, especially those in the independent scene, began to embrace the synth-heavy sound as a cost-effective way to create memorable scores. Instead of hiring a full orchestra, they could rely on a single musician wielding a synthesizer, which not only saved money but also gave rise to a unique sound that defined a generation. But why does this 80s sound continue to resonate with audiences today? Sure, we've seen waves of nostalgia for the decade, but the synth sound has evolved beyond mere reminiscence. It has morphed into a genre known as synthwave, blending with modern electronic dance music, EDM, and inspiring filmmakers to incorporate these retro vibes into contemporary projects. Movies like David Robert Mitchell's It Follows and Adam Wingard's The Guest subtly nod to the 80s while crafting their own unique soundscapes. And it's not just films. This nostalgic sound has made its way into television, too. To understand the enduring appeal of the 80s synth sound, I spoke with several talented musicians currently composing for film and television. Their insights shed light on why this retro sound is not just a passing trend but a lasting influence that shows no signs of fading. #the everlasting charm of 80s nostalgia. The 80s have a unique hold on our culture, and it's not just about the movies and music. Franchises like Transformers, Ghostbusters, and Beetlejuice continue to thrive, proving that the decade's influence is far from over. Sunglasses Kid, a British music producer and composer for Cobra Kai, and Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. recalls a time when the 80s sound was considered outdated. In the 90s, saying something sounded 80s was almost an insult, he reflects. It was synonymous with cheesy or embarrassing. Yet, as the creators of today grew up in the 80s, they brought that nostalgia back into the spotlight. Sunglasses Kid notes, those who are now in their 30s and 40s are the ones making creative decisions. They're commissioning projects that reflect their childhood, and there's a market for it. It's fascinating to see how the 80s have maintained their appeal, especially when you consider how quickly trends usually change. He also points out that the 80s sound is cherished for its unique blend of innovation and limitation. It was a time of experimentation with sounds that had never been heard before. Now, with technology, we can create anything, but there's a nostalgia for that era when the palette was more restricted. It's like a treasure trove of exotic sounds that we still crave today. #the impact of influential works. The resurgence of 80s sounds can be traced back to pivotal works like Nicholas Winding Refn's 2011 film, Drive. With its pulsating Cliff Martinez score and vibrant visuals, the film reignited interest in the synth-heavy sound. Sunglasses Kid credits Kavinsky's Night Call as a key track that inspired many to explore the 80s sound palette. Zach Robinson, who co-composed the score for Cobra Kai, echoes this sentiment, recalling how Drive marked a turning point for retro music enthusiasts. Robinson explains that the synthwave genre didn't emerge solely from Drive, but was influenced by earlier electronic music movements, such as French Touch, which included artists like Daft Punk. This blend of nostalgia and innovation has allowed musicians to create a sound that feels both fresh and familiar. #the experimental side of retro sounds. While synthwave is a significant part of the conversation, it's essential to recognize that it's just one facet of a broader musical landscape. Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein, members of the electronic band SURVIV, gained fame for their work on Stranger Things. They approached their compositions from a more experimental angle, drawing inspiration from early electronic music rather than strictly adhering to the synthwave label. Dixon notes, I think the term synthwave was coined in 2016. Before that, we were just making music that felt nostalgic without necessarily fitting into a specific genre. Our influences come from a variety of sources, including more avant-garde electronic records from the 70s and 80s. #### crafting emotion through sound. At the heart of it all, these composers share a common goal: to evoke emotion through their music. Robinson emphasizes the power of retro synth sounds in storytelling. Film music is all about emotion and tone. The nostalgia that synth music evokes is palpable, even if it's a made-up nostalgia. It's not about whether the 80s were a great time, it's about the imagery and feelings that the music conjures. Dixon and Stein highlight how the creative freedom they receive from filmmakers allows them to experiment and find the right sound for each moment. They prefer using real synthesizers and hardware to create a more authentic sound, which sets their work apart from the more common digital compositions. ### synth scores, a viable alternative. In today's digital age, the stigma surrounding electronic music has faded. Robinson explains that what was once seen as a budget-friendly option is now recognized as a legitimate artistic choice. There's no longer an immediate association of synths with cheapness. Now, a single musician creating a score is seen as innovative and cool. As budgets for film and television scores evolve, the demand for high-quality music remains. Robinson notes that while orchestras are still essential for big productions, many shows are now expected to deliver cinematic scores on smaller budgets. This shift has made synth scores a popular choice, as they can be produced more affordably without sacrificing quality. ### the synth sound in modern culture. So, why does the 80s electronic sound persist in modern film scores? It's not just a trend, it's a conscious choice by artists who appreciate the unique qualities of synth music. Stein points out that synthesizers have become a staple in contemporary scoring, often used alongside traditional orchestral elements. Even big Hollywood scores incorporate synths for sub-bass and effects. It's become a fundamental part of sound design. Dixon adds that the prevalence of electronic music in popular culture has made synthesizers more relevant than ever. Most people today are more likely to hear electronic sounds than orchestral music. It's the sound of our time. ### the enduring legacy of 80s sounds. Despite the ever-changing landscape of music, the nostalgic pull of the 80s sound remains strong. Robinson muses, why has this sound endured? It's fascinating to see how something can have such a long-lasting legacy and still resonate with younger generations who weren't even alive during that time. Sunglasses Kid often encounters young fans expressing their nostalgia for an era they never experienced. I get comments from people in their 20s saying they feel a longing for a time they weren't even alive in. It's a testament to the power of that sound. Ultimately, the enduring appeal of the 80s synth sound lies in its ability to evoke emotion and create a sense of nostalgia that transcends time. As Sunglasses Kid aptly puts it, it's like discovering a new range of colors in art. Just because styles evolve doesn't mean the palette will ever go out of fashion. While the future may bring new sounds and trends, the synth sound of the 80s will continue to resonate, blending the past with the present in a way that feels timeless.